Thanks for joining me today. This is a layout that I'm doing as a guest design spot for Wild Whisper Designs. So I'm really excited to show you some of their stuff. You can see here I'm just showing you some of the embossing powders that I got. Those are from Emerald Creek. I really wanted to use them, but I didn't end up on this particular layout, so I will have to show those another time. And then there I was showing you some wood veneer hearts, and these are some little cork hearts from Spiegel Mom that I got from Wild Whisper as well. And now here are the cards that come in the card pack, and this collection is called No Place Like Home. So it's so gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I love the colors. You guys know that I have a daughter and I have sons, and so these colors are super feminine and also super masculine. Just really pretty. I love them. Love that saying. I love these houses. Suzy shared a little secret with me that those houses were actually designed after some of the houses that her and Heather have in their past, so houses they've lived in or grandparents and stuff like that. So really, really sweet and lots of meaning behind them. So those were the 4x6 cards, and now here's the 4x3 cards. Love all of the teacups and the cards that say curl up, because again, you guys know I love to read and drink my tea, so this entire collection was custom made for me. It feels like it was. It's just beautiful. So those are all the cards from the card pack, and now this is the paper pack. So here you go. You can see you get 6 sheets of paper, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It is really nice and thick. It has almost like a glossiness to it. It's just beautiful. So that was the first sheet. This one's all those windows. Here's like a fur pillow. That's what I think of anyways. The beautiful floral pattern, and then this is a chevron and it's blue, and they're sort of sketched or watercolored. Very nice. Then here's the teacups. I haven't decided if I'm going to cut those apart or use it like this, but they're awesome, and there's definitely enough room in there that you could fussy cut around a whole bunch of them. And here's more of those houses. So I think it's really sweet that there's a background story to a lot of these papers. And then this pattern has all of the houses as well, and this really nice damask in sort of a mottled blue. Yep, I loved it. I loved it. That was my thumbs up. So here's the picture that I'm using. It's a little bit weird. The coloring is a little bit off. It's been edited a few times, and I don't have an original copy of it. It's from a few years ago. So that's what I want to use. And I plan to cut out some of those houses. And I thought of this picture because of the greens and the yellows that you see in the grass. So I thought that it would go really well with this collection. And I know the collection is called No Place Like Home, and the reason that this picture means a lot to me is because it was taken a couple of weeks after our boys had come to live with us, and it was sort of the first time that they were really comfortable having me out of their sight, and they took my daughter's hand, and they were just really confident, and they trusted her, and as they were walking away, I could just tell that they were home. So yeah, so I thought this was the perfect collection to finally scrap that picture. And I've been really inspired by Tracy Banks and Jen Scow and a lot of these ladies who are scrapping really big pictures right now. So I printed it out at 8x12, and yeah, so that's the story behind that. So here I'm just pulling out my Prima water-soluble oil pastels, and I decided to just watercolor these a little bit. I'm sorry I didn't zoom in. I meant to, but you'll notice little feet around the top corner of my video. My kids were being disruptive while I was scrapping, and my daughter has a friend over, and so it totally slipped my mind to bring you closer. I apologize. But I do have to say it watercolored beautifully. The paper held up to the water really well, and I was really impressed. So it's definitely something that you can go ahead and try. So I decided to go with the blue chevron paper because the green in the grass is so striking, and when you look at this picture you really want to see a blue sky, and the sky's just been washed out. It's not blue anymore. So I thought that the blue paper would sort of complement the grass and just give that feeling of a blue sky. But I also want to use this yellow, and so what I'm going to do is matte the picture with two mattes. I'm going to use the yellow, and then I'm going to use that dark green. So I'm just gutting the papers because I want to try and preserve as much of them as possible. So I'm just measuring there a little bit. Oh, see, you can see my one of my kids spinning around on the floor. Anyways, yes, so I'm just gutting the photos, the papers, so that I can preserve as much as possible. And then here, I didn't want this to go all the way from top to bottom. I wanted there to be a border around the whole thing. So I cut that down just a little bit. And now I'm going to cut down this green. It's such a nice dark forest green. I really like it, and it's a good matte for the picture. So I'll gut this one as well, mostly because I want to be able to paint some more of those houses. And I made sure when I painted those houses that I had measured, so that I knew I was going to cut them out and still have enough space for a border. Whoops, I didn't have that measured properly. So I'll just glue that down, so it'll be dark green first, and then the yellow. Now I just have to trim it a little bit to make sure that enough of the yellow peeks out from the top and the bottom. And so I sort of had a general idea of what I wanted to do. I want to use the gray as a neutral. I just felt it needed something to sort of ground it a little bit. So that's what the gray is going to do. There we go. So I'll get that all glued down because I knew that that's what I was doing. So here's that gray, and it says home in different fonts all across the page. And I'm just going to cut it so that it looks like it's coming out both sides there. So I'll slip that one in, and then that one. I thought I was pretty good at measuring, but I just want to take that little piece of paper to double check that I'm not way off. From this angle on the video, it actually looks like I am, but when I measured, it was okay. So, and then now I want to use some of that floral paper. I really like that it has all of the colors, and so I wanted to have some sort of paper that represented them all. So I'm just trying to decide where I want it to go, so I only put some glue on the one side there. And I didn't like it on the other side at that scale. I felt like it was starting to weigh everything down on the bottom, and then with the top being so light, it didn't look proportioned. I'm just showing you some of the stuff I was thinking of using. I was looking for things that had the colors that I wanted. So mostly the yellows, the green, and the blue. And there you can see the card that says, "Home is wherever I'm with you," which I thought was very representative of my feelings about the photo. So this is some really old Jelly Bean Soup stickers. I think it's called Avocado Cold Soup. I think that's what the collection is. And the colors actually match really well. So I pulled everything out that I thought would go. And now I'm just going to start building my clusters using these stickers. So there's a couple of pinked circles. everything on the sticker sheet came in threes, so a blue, a green, and a yellow pinked circle, blue, green, and yellow labels, so it worked out really good to be able to balance everything. And here I have those really cute wood veneers. I love that the hearts are just a little bit wonky. They're not super symmetrical. So it gives that sketched feel. So I finally decided I'm going to cut that floral paper down. And now I just have to try and figure out where along that edge that I want to put it. And I know I want something up at the top as well, so that it doesn't look like the picture's kind of floating away at the top. But I'm not quite sure. I also pulled out these old Dear Lizzie stickers, and again, because they had the right colors. So there's a couple of little butterflies. They sort of have a green and a bit of that blue in them. And then here's a couple stickers that had the right color. So I'm going to pull those out as well. And I'm not putting them down permanently. I'm just sort of pulling them off because I know I want to use them and I haven't quite decided where yet. But eventually that one sticker down at the very bottom that says "This is my happy place," it actually inspires me to make my third cluster up at the top. So that was my jumping off point. And I also pulled out some little stars, and that sticker that I just put down there says "This is an awesome day." And then I spread out the wood veneer just so I had an idea of what my clusters were going to look like. And as you can see, I'm still not 100% sure where I want those other clusters to go. So I'll move things around and keep fussing until I can figure it out. I do like this cluster down at the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and start sticking things down. That arrow is blue, green, and yellow, so it was perfect. I had to use it. So now I'm just sort of stuck with where to put that big wood veneer heart if I use that arrow. And eventually I just scrap that heart altogether. It's really cute, I like it, but it's just not going to fit, I don't think. It's too big compared to the scale of everything else. So now that my houses are dry, I'm going to pull those out too so that I can make sure that I'm putting enough space in my clusters for them. So I'm just going to fussy cut around them. And I end up only using 5 of them. But I will keep the other one, and I'm sure that I will end up using it. So I'm going to put 3 in the title cluster, and then I'll put 1 in each of the other clusters. And I really like that they're so bright, because the paint on top of the white paper just makes the color pop, and the brightness is what the clusters needed. The yellow is sort of more on like a mustard yellow, so it's a little bit darker. The green is kind of an olive green or an avocado green, so it's also a little bit more muted. And the blue is a darker blue. So all of those stickers and everything are very muted. So they needed the house to sort of pop, which it did. So that worked out perfectly. So I'm going to put them on pop dots to give a little bit of dimension. So you can see there that I decided on this cluster. I'm going to put it right by my kids. And I'm starting to put everything together. There was a little grouping of 3 yellow stars. So I cut them apart so that I could put 1 in each of the clusters. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just making my cuts a little bit more even. And now for this one, I remembered that I had pulled off some stickers from a sticker sheet that I wanted to use. They were sort of my starting point as I was gathering all of the colors to match this collection. So when I realized I had them, I thought I might as well just put them in there. So I found a home for them. Excuse my hair. Oh my goodness, you see the top of my head a lot in this video now. I don't think that's ever happened before. My daughter has decided that she loves using the tripod to make her own videos and Musical.ly videos. So every time I want to do a video now, I have to go steal my tripod back and set everything up all over again. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to get these houses to all fit in nicely, but I had to move over some of those labels so that there was no trapped white space. And on this cluster, I stuck 2 down directly to the paper, and I just have one of them up on pop dots. And then now I'm going to move up to the top. So that sticker that you see me using right there, it actually came right off of the sticker sheet with the backing. So I just pulled that backing off, and I'm going to build my cluster up on top of it. So I have a bunch of stickers, and I have a couple of those pieces of labels that you saw me cut. And I did also stick, woo, there's my hair again, wow. I also stuck just a little sliver of the floral paper so that all of the colors are represented up at the top. And now I'm going to pop dot the house for this one. Oh my goodness, can you hear those 2 girls in my kitchen? I'm sure that my recording is picking them up. Girls, say hello.
Hi.
My daughter's having my daughter's having a sleepover, and they are eating food because that's what preteens do at sleepovers. Okay, go ahead upstairs, girls. So now I'm just taking some of that gray paper because I also needed some of that up in the top, and I realized that the other 2 clusters had pinked circles from the sticker sheet and this one didn't. So I'm just going to do a quick circle, and I just cut a couple of triangles out of the part that would be showing. So you'll never know that the rest of the circle isn't actually pinked. And that completes the clusters. I'm just going to glue down my wood veneer, make a little bit of mess with the glue, of course. I'm so sorry, they're acting like goofballs. And I'm just using some Tombow Mono in a fine line bottle there. My pin from that bottle popped off, so I have to replace the lid, but I haven't done it yet. And the last thing that I need to do is some journaling, and I haven't quite decided. I feel like I want to journal right on the photo, but I'm not brave enough to do it. So I'm looking for some enamel dots that I can sprinkle around the page while I try to decide if I'm going to journal on the picture or not. So here I have some green ones. These are just my mind's eye enamel dots. I pulled them all out of their packages and put them into one. So I'm just going to use some of the green ones, and then I find some yellow ones. Yep. And then I think I also find some blue ones. Actually, no. What I used for the blue, I couldn't find the right blue. I wanted a nice dark blue. So what I end up using is some of those weird melted button things that I've shown you before. If you're new to this channel, I'll quickly explain. I bought some button sets from the dollar store, and in the bags were these weird sort of melted buttons that look like enamel dots. They're the same shape as an enamel dot, but they're plastic like a button. So I don't know if they have a purpose or if those are just scraps that got melted. I have no idea, but I use them all the time. And anytime I go to the dollar store, I look through all the bags of buttons to see if they have any of them because I think they're great. So I just happen to have some in a darker blue, and I love the way that is sort of the darkest color on the layout, and it really makes those clusters pop. So here I'm just using my distress marker. I think this one's called Smoked Hickory. So it's a nice gray. And I'm just outlining everything. I'm not going to outline every single one of the little labels, but I do outline the ones that don't have a white border around them. And I'm still trying to gather up the courage to use this marker to write in the white space of the photo. So there you can see I took the piece that I had cut off and I kind of scribbled in it to see if it would actually stick nicely on the picture, and it does. So now I'm outlining it. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do the journaling on the photo, where would I put it? And then you'll see that I decide to just chicken out. So here I'm going to write out my journaling again because I'm trying to decide, and I realized that there was nothing white in the side and top cluster. So now instead of doing it on the actual picture itself, I'm going to do it on this white tag. One day I will have the guts to do it. I just felt like I couldn't figure out the right place to put it. So if you guys can see what I'm missing and where you think I could have journaled on this photo, let me know down below, because I'm curious to know if you guys would attempt to do it, and if so, where would you have put the journaling? And that completes my layout. Thanks so much to Wild Whisper Designs. Thank you, Heather and Suzy, for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Happy scrapping. Okay, girls, say bye.
Bye.
Bye.